بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم رضي الله تعالى عنه وسائر التابعين وعلماء عاملين وعائمة أربع المجتهدين ومقالديهم إلى يوم الدين. وبعد, I might even close the door. It's gonna be kind of loud.
I use this one, never mind. I'm coming in.
All right, so we finished the Ilahiyat out of Usuluddin, and so now we're going to get into the Nubuwah. In the same Hukm al-Aqliyah, the intellectual judgments still applies when it's pertaining to the prophets and messengers. Now what I'll do is I'll read the Arabic through the Ilahiyat real quick up into the part where we at with the Nubuwah, and then we'll go into today's section, inshallah. Yes. I got it right here. You pass it to me, I'll put it in there. So, or you can do it after class, whichever one you want to do. Okay. All right. So he says, قال المؤلف رحمه الله. The author said رحمه الله تعالى. القسم الأول علم التوحيد. The first section is the science of Tawheed. ويجب على كل مكلف أن يتعلم منه مقدار عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته مقدار ما يصحح به اعتقاده. ويجب على كل مكلف أن يعلم أن الله موجود ودليل وجوده وجود مخلوقات، وأنه تعالى قديم، ودليل قدامه لزوم الدور وتسلسل في تقدير حدوثه وهما محالا وأنه تعالى باق، ودليل بقائه ثبوت قدامه، وأنه تعالى مخالف للحوادث، ودليل مخالفاته لها قدراته على إيجادها، وأنه تعالى excuse me one second, I just lost my whole place now. وأنه تعالى غني عن المحال ومخاصص، ودليل غنائه عن المحال واستحالة اتصافه الصفات بمعاني ومعنوية، ودليل غنائه عن مخاصص ثبوت قدامه، وأنه تعالى واحد، ودليل وحدانية انتظام عمر مخلوقاتي، وأنه تعالى قدير، ودليل قدراته وإيجاد المخلوقات، وأنه تعالى مريد، ودليل إراداته اختلاف أنواع المخلوقات، وأنه تعالى عالم، ودليل علمه اتقان أشياء، وأنه تعالى حي، ودليل حياته استحالته كون وميت فاعلا، وأنه تعالى سميع بصير سميع بصير متكلم، ودليل قطعه في هذا الكتاب والسنة وإجماع. هذا الذي ذكر في الصفاه تعالى إلهنا، وهو كله مما يجب في حقه تعالى وإذا علم ما يجب في الحق علم ما يستحل هو ضد ذلك واجب ويجب على كل مكلف أيضا أن يعلم أنه تعالى لا يجب عليه فعل كل شيء ولا تركه بل فعل وترك جائزان في حقه ودليل على ذلك استحالة انقلاب ممكن واجبا ومستحالا. Okay, so we finished that section dealing with the ilahiyat. We went over we discussed all 13 attributes that are necessary for you to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All 13 of those attributes are wajib. They're necessary for Allah. Meaning, there's necessary wajib, and then you have mustahalan. These are hukma aqaliyah. Okay, istihalan is those things that are impossible. As the Shaykh he mentioned here, he says about istihalan, he said, huwa diddu dhalika al-wajib. They're the opposite of those things that are wajib. All right? And then he said, then also you have what is known as jaiz, those things that are permissible. The Nubuwwah takes the same intellectual judgments. As a matter of fact, we'll finish this section today, right? After my son done give his khutbah. You all right back there, son? No. Anyway, so Babu Nubuwwah, right? Nubuwati. The section pertaining to the prophets. ويجب على كل مكلف أيضا أن يعلم أن جميع رسوله تعالى صادقون في كل ما أخبروا به ودليل صدق معجزات. All right, so we got the translation is on Zoom. I put the translation up there for you to follow along on Zoom. So the Sheikh he starts off. He says about the Nubuwwah, the prophetic, as far as with regards to the prophethood. It is obligatory upon every legally responsible Muslim, mukallaf, to know that the messengers of Allah Ta'ala are all sadiqun. They're all truthful in everything which they convey to mankind. And the proof of their truthfulness are their mu'ajizat, which they perform, the miracles which they perform. Every prophet messenger came with a particular miracle. And their miracle was to confirm that they were sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The greatest miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the Quran. Right? Some of the miracles of the other prophets might have been like Isa ibn Maryam. He was able to heal people that were blind. Likewise, the Prophet ﷺ had the same abilities. We went over this in Ta'alim Anam. The man's eye came out of socket. The Prophet ﷺ, put some saliva and reattached his eye. Right? And the man was seen 20 times better out of that eye than he did the other eye. Right? So it strengthened his eyes. And there's many miracles that are mentioned. Now, I believe it's the NOI, along with some of the Imam Muhammad ministry, they did not believe in the miracles of the prophets. They said they were all metaphorical meaning. They meant something else. They would say like Isa helped the blind to see. It means that they brought them the truth. The black man was resurrected, and so on and so forth. No. Whatever Allah Ta'ala's messages say about the miracles, then that's what we believe. Khalas. Like Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that Musa turned his stick into a snake. Right? The magician that was battling, because that, you got to remember, that was their stage at the time. Baba, stop erasing the board. So at the time, that was their thing. He was like, oh yeah, well I can do this, right? And the man threw what was he? What he threw? A staff or something, and the rope, and it's supposed to have turned into something. But then Musa threw the stick, and the stick, turned into a snake and ran the magician off. So, these things, this is what the oppressors use in order to challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so Allah ta'ala doesn't aid a liar. Now, just so that you'll notice, you can put this in for notes. Mu'jizat is for the prophets. Okay? Then you have what is known as karamat. Karamat is for the awliya. Those people, those obedient, devoted servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the awliya is able to perform a karama, a miracle as such, or well, I don't care whether it be walking on water, flying in the air, healing somebody, whatever the case is, as a Muslim, we understand that everything is under the control of Allah, first of all. This is why we don't say it's impossible for this to happen. Most people that deny it is because they don't believe, they don't understand that it's still under Allah's control. They have a problem comprehending, putting the two together. So this is why they'll believe that you can have a cell phone and talk to somebody halfway across the world, but someone can't, do a simple miracle which Allah permitted people in the past to do as well.
He said that the scholars are inheritors of the prophets, so they also inherit their abilities.
And that's a good point, because which brings me to my next point. If there's a wali, awliya is plural of the word wali. If there is a wali that can perform a miracle of some sort, which is basically breaking the creational norm, okay? If he's able to perform this, usually sometimes that is a sign that the person has followed the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you have what is called istiraj, okay? That is usually for kuffar or real evil Muslims. Istiraj is where they perform a particular action, right? And it's still Allah Ta'ala is in control and permitting them to do so, but the person is not from amongst the awliya. They're not from the prophets. They are liars. They're either a liar or magician, the kuffar, and so on and so forth. And usually the istiraj, that's like it's an illusion. You understand what I'm saying? It's an illusion. One of the biggest istiraj that's yet to come is when the Dajjal will come and he will kill the man, that man is Khidr, which we find from the narrations and the explanation of scholars or ulama. That is Khidr. And Khidr will come back to life by Allah's permission and call him out on it. He said, yo, you're a liar. Only Allah Ta'ala is God, because the people will begin to worship the Dajjal at that point. So which goes to show you that the denial of mu'jizat and karama and things, and also having weak understanding of Aqidah, will subjugate you to be a follower of the Dajjal. Right? Because the Muslim, we understand, why is this so important? Think about it. If we didn't know what istiraj was, and somebody killed somebody in front of you and brought them back to life, and you didn't have, the proper belief and strong iman, you'll probably follow it too. You'll be like, yo, hold up. You'll start following them too. Like, yo, this man just brought this man from, took him from death and brought him back to life, And that's what a lot of people are having with regards to science.
I was just getting ready to ask you.
Science is the Sufism of the atheists. It's his Sufism. His madhab, his fiqh is secularism. His aqidah is atheism. I'm telling you, that stuff is true. I broke it all the way down. These guys don't believe in the existence of Allah, right? And if they do, you have some that do. They believe in the concept of God, but they attribute actions to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they'll say, a lot of Muslims fall under this category. They'll say, oh, well, I believe in the existence of Allah, but I do also believe that these horoscopes are giving me something to understand. This is kufr, of course. But you have people that attribute that to it. If you have a Muslim that's constantly going by zodiac signs and stuff, like people turn the zodiac signs, it's a form of soothsaying. You know, that whole following zodiac signs and stuff like this is kufr. And even during the time of the Shehu, there were people that used to go to what were they called? Like Bori witches. They were witches, right? And Nana Ismail, the daughter of the Shehu, a lot of her work, she has a lot of works that talks about some of the benefits of the Quran. She wrote these books, in order to move people away from magic and worshiping other than Allah to paying more attention to the Quran. Like for instance, what are some of the situations or some of the things that people actually turn to soothsayers for?
Like talking to, like speaking to a dead person.
Speaking to a dead person.
For like to seek like wealth.
Wealth, right? People seek wealth through soothsayers. That's like number one, right? Now, one of the surahs that,
I know people use it for like attracting the opposite, attracting
opposite sex. They use it for different reasons. Remember that and you read the Surah Baqarah, where during that fitna during the time of Sulaiman, right? They were using that people were using magic as well. I think that was when magic first got introduced, if I'm not mistaken.
They try to attribute it to him saying that.
Right. So with the soothsayer, so people go to them for money. Let's say money, for instance, right? So what Nana Ismail did, she wrote a book, and it's all centered and based off a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What surah do we usually read in order to sustain us with wealth?
It's funny.
If you read it every day, right, it'll assist you.
Just saying,
So Waqiyah.
yeah.
Surah 56. This is from the hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You read this, it aids you, it assists you in your sustenance, your livelihood. Ayatul Kursi. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever reads this after every salat, he'll enter Jannah. If you read it at Subh and also at Maghrib, it'll protect you from the waswas of shaitan. Baba, you too loud. It'll protect you from the whispers of shaitan. And a lot of people suffer, especially now with this whole thing. It's a wave of the whole mental illness thing. A lot of our mental illnesses is from the waswas of shaitan, right? And so, in that waswas, people don't understand. And you keep forgetting what was the last thing you washed, and you be like, let me go back and make wudu again. That's from the waswas of shaitan. You know what I'm saying? Something to spark your jealousy, over something righteous. Hey, whisper to the heart. And it harms you, not so much harms you in that same manner. That's why also another way of protecting yourself from waswas is reciting the 3 qul's at night and evening. Some people recite it after every salat. But all of these things are learned. All these things are learned in order to protect yourself. And so what happens is from the dunya, all the whispers of shaitan, these things are bothering people in their thinking. It bothers you in your thinking, the way you think, in all those things. So it bothers the way you think. Waswas, it causes doubt, because one of the quickest ways of apostasy is to have shak, to have doubt. Like Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَتَرَبُوا. That the believer is the one who believes in Allah and His Messenger, and after that he doesn't have any doubt. Right? Now most of us, because of our Christian affiliation, we think that just having, just believing that Allah exists is sufficient. Oh, there's a whole lot more to that. You have to believe that Allah Ta'ala is the one who gives you your sustenance. Right? That's what a lot of us fall short at. That's why, even Muslims, like we're talking about these Muslims during the time of Nana and Ismail, they would go to the Bori witch. listen, we need some money, right? A lot of women, Nana Smile, she has a book condemning women because one of the practices of women during that time, they used to do magic on each other, right? Especially if they were co-wives. You know what I mean? They do magic on each other, yeah. They would go to the Bordy witch, And so, these things happen. Today, the same thing happened. Hasid, an uncontrolled hasid, is a bad effect. That's what it's called, the ayn. It's real bad effect, the ayn, to the point that it can harm a person, right? Or it leads to a level of sihr, a level of magic. You see? So, these type of things, these things, so you're replacing one. She took that away from them and gave them what was from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, so anyway, so back to the text. He says, وَأَنَّهُ عَلَيْهِمُ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ آمَنَ. It's funny. The word is up there. That was from Miratul Tulab class. That's part of the homework assignment for the people. They got to look up that Arabic word. Amana. All right? Amana. He said, وَدَلِيلُ أَمَنَاتِهِمْ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ hold on. Now, he says, بِالْإِقْتِدَاءِ بِهِمْ. All right? So the Sheikh, he goes on and he says, back there. So he says, the Sheikh, he says that they, meaning the prophets, upon all of them be peace, that they were trustworthy, amana'u, right? And the proof of their trustworthiness is that Allah Ta'ala commanded them to be followed, right? Because if you scrutinize those who Allah Ta'ala chose as prophets, and this is where the Jews are guilty of kufr, this is where the Christians are guilty of kufr, right? One of the reasons why. They question, if you ever read some of the stories that are in the Bible, they accuse some of the prophets of committing incest, being drunkards. They accuse Suleiman of setting up one of his soldiers to get killed so he could take his wife, and all of these things. But then at the end of the day, they still claim that they love him and I follow him, right? If you look at Musa, the Yahud, they don't accept any prophet after Musa alayhi salam, right? The Jews, right? and that's why a lot of them will be the followers of the Dajjal. The Christians, they're guilty of not embracing Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So each of them are up to that point. They impute certain particular faults to them, right? And so on and so forth. So if they weren't trustworthy, then Allah Ta'ala wouldn't have ordered them to be followed. All right. So the next part that the Shaykh he mentions, he says, وَأَنَّهُمْ عَلَيْهِمُ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ قَدْ بَلَاغُوا جَمِيعًا ما أمروا بإبلاغه للخلق ودليل تبليغ hold up. Oh no. He said, let me turn this sideways. I can see it better when I turn it this way. Now, he said, ودليل تبليغهم آمناتهم هذا الذي ذكر في أوصافهم عليهم الصلاة والسلام هو كل مما يجب في حقه عليهم الصلاة والسلام وإذا علم ما يجب في حقه عليهم الصلاة والسلام وعلم ما يستحيل هو ضد ذلك واجب وهو واجب على كل مكلف أيضا أن يعلم أنهم عليهم الصلاة والسلام يجوز في حقهم ما هو من أعراضه بشرية التي لا تودي إلى نقص في مراتبهم علية كالحمى والصدع وأكلي واشربي وانكحي وبيعي والشرائي ودليل على ذلك مشدهة وواتر. Now, وواتر. Now, so he said, the Sheikh, he said, وقال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى, he said, the next part, he said that they, peace be upon them, have qad balagha, they conveyed the message, all of which they have been ordered to deliver to mankind, and the proof of them delivering the message is their trustworthiness, right? So they delivered the message. That's pretty much clear. These things that are wujub, was necessary, a wajib, for you to know about the prophets and messengers, it all testifies to the veracity, to the level of truthfulness, in the message. The truthfulness of the message is very important. This is why one of the things that Sheikh Sama Anas, he mentioned, and he was speaking with regards to the Shia and the Salafiyah. Not only do they share different beliefs, but they tear apart your Senate. They tear apart your chain. Because if you see the Shia, they go right after the Rafida, they go right after the companions. You destroy the companions, you cut the Quran off. Because who was the inheritors of the Quran after the Prophet ﷺ was the Sahabas. Right? The Salafiyah, they cut out the tabi. How do they do so? By giving you this new understanding. They usually say that we follow the way of the Sahaba, as if there's nothing else after that, right? They cut that, right? They question their veracity. Abu Hanifa didn't know hadith. They're taking that. He was considered tabi by some and tabi by many. Imam Malik was tabi, right? It chops their veracity. You destroy that chain, you destroy Islam. So in order to confuse people, you make the claim that you're part of those three generations. You're the only one following that. People will believe that before even investigating, right? Why would they believe that, especially in the time period we live in? Because majority of the Muslims, when you outwardly see them, it takes a lot of courage to wear a thobe, especially in a lot of cities where there's not a lot of Muslims. So somebody sees you in a thobe, they believe you are the man. But before the Salafiyah became popular, you remember the Tabligh was the Salafi back then. And what I mean by that is they were outwardly Muslim, they would call you the Sunnah. I prefer them over the Salafiyah any day. But anyway, they were them. Brothers was using miswak in the masjid, wearing turbans, high water pants, everything. Why? Because of Jamaatul Tabligh. You always had Jamaatul Tabligh will visit every masjid. Even people told them, no, we don't want you here. They come anyway. Assalamu alaikum, brother. We came to pray Maghrib with you. And they be like, Sheikh, can I give a quick bayan?
They go to the Salafi.
They go everywhere. Right? The Salafiyah, everything that came from them, it caused you to doubt everything. You start doubting. And if you were around long enough, you knew that with the Ahlul Salafiyah, they didn't even believe in madhabs. They didn't follow madhabs. They condemned them. Them and Wafdeen Muhammad's community shared that alike.
It's not like that?
Nah, not no more. Now all of them becoming Maliki and Hanbali. all of them are now. They're like, yo, we Maliki.
Yep.
We're Hanbali. I ain't Alhamdulillah, but but the thing is, they brought about all of that tahayyur, all of that confusion with them. And so you chop at the veracity of the prophets. You destroy the deen. The veracity of the prophet. You go after their veracity, their character, their integrity. Then you're questioning and challenging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You go after the Sahabas, you're challenging the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Matter of fact, if you go after any of the three generations, you're challenging the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he said in a narration, which mutaakhir, one of the latter narrations, khayru qurni thumma alladhina yalunhum. The best generation is my generation. then those who follow them and those who follow them. Very, very important narration. If you attack the character of any of the tabi, and the Sahaba, you're attacking the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You're attacking their veracity. Discard them is discarding Islam. But because of the blurred lines now, it's like, do you follow the Salaf? This is all just to cause confusion. We cannot, under no circumstance, as Muslims, we cannot judge our Islam by the criteria that the Salafiyya set up. Most people are scared of Sufis. Why? Because the Salafiyya said so. A Sufi is like boogeyman now to people. It's like, remember in that movie Candyman? It's like going in the mirror saying Candyman. What was it, 10 times or 3 times?
3 times.
3 times. Like going and say,
huh? Cut the lights off and spin around.
Yeah, it's like, you say the word tasawwuf, people, oh God. And all of this, I promise you, all of this is just to destroy Islam. Because when you get Iman in Islam and you exclude Ihsan, you'll have a bunch of angry men running around arguing with each other all day, which you already have happening. And these guys are arguing back and forth, right, with no filter. This is why Imam Malik said the person who doesn't who learns Sharia and doesn't study Tasawwuf, what does he say? Not a zindiq. What was the word that he used? Like basically, like he's
like a heretic.
He's like a mubtadi, like a deviant.
Yeah. The one who used the soul for not following
fiqh,
yeah, he's like a mubtadi.
He's like a mubtadi. You follow Sufism with no fiqh, but the one who follows fiqh with no Sufism, he corrupts the deen. Cause he's always arguing. He's just angry. Like, yo, what the hell are you so mad about? Now I'm mad because these boys don't know how to make wudu properly. Well, then maybe you should take the time out. You have to have that the raqiq. That softness of the heart in order to take the time, lower the wing to teach the person. Right? Now we want the axe. Because we think everybody else should go to the hellfire. That's Najdi behavior. Right? Those are the Arab, the Bedouins. Remember the Bedouin, he came in the masjid. This is the Bedouins is like, they were like the people in the outskirts. They were like country folk. They ain't had no mannerism.
North Carolina.
The Bedouin, they would come in the masjid, they urinate in the masjid, piss all over the masjid floor. Right? Sahaba was ready to knock his head clean off. It was the Prophet ﷺ that stopped him. Like, wait. Pour some water on that. You got a fiqh lesson from that. How to purify urine? Pour water on it. You got a fiqh lesson out of that. So there was a purpose, it was a good thing that the man, well, not literally, but it was good that came out of man pissing in the masjid on the floor. You learn how to remove impurities, right? He said there was one of the Arab, the Bedouins. He'd come in the masjid. He said, oh Allah. He said he made the dua out loud too. Oh Allah, bless me and bless Muhammad and don't bless nobody else. The Bedouin was the dude that was Surah to Hujurat, where Allah tell you don't go to the door of the Prophet ﷺ and screaming his name out. That was them. They come in town. Yeah, Muhammad, come outside now, Muhammad. The Bedouin, the Arab, they don't have no mannerism. And sad to say, a lot of us now, he gripped them up. Ya Rasulullah, itaqillah, fear Allah. A lot of us have that same attitude. Let somebody do something wrong, we don't have no tact on how we correct the person.
When that pulled his clothes off his shoulders.
Bedouins always violated the Prophet ﷺ. That's why Allah says in Surah Tawbah about them. Some of them there's good with them, and some of them they ain't got no sense. They like retarded. And you got people, they have no morale, they have no character, when dealing with people. So anyway, let me finish reading the rest of the translation, inshallah, so we can and I get my black man fatwa for the week. So anyway, he said this was the Sheikh, he goes on, this is what has been mentioned concerning the qualities of the messengers, upon them be peace, and everything that is necessary regarding their rights, right? Or yajibu fi haqqihim. He said what is necessary with regards to their rights are understood and known, then that which is impossible with regards to them, what is impossible, which the word is istahil, right? Something that's impossible Istihilin is also known by their diddu dhalik al-wajib. They're known by the opposite of what is necessary for you to know about them. So it's impossible for the prophets to be liars. It's impossible for the prophets to be treacherous. And it's impossible for them to conceal the message. They revealed it all. There's some Shia, there's some of the Moors even take this aqidah, this belief in saying that there's missing chapters of the Quran. Right? This is kufr. Because now you're saying that the messengers didn't complete the Risala. They didn't complete the message.
Some of the Shia said that there's some missing ayahs, some missing surahs of the Quran, and that Ali
should have been the prophet.
No. That he had the
ayahs? He had
the missing ayahs.
Oh, these dudes, they can't get no more wickeder in my book, man. That's why Imam Malik didn't acknowledge them as Muslims. Yeah, he was hard on them. All the Malikis was hard on the Shia. You know what the Shia was? The Shia was the Salafi of our time, right? That's what Sheikh Salmon, he opened my eyes to it, and it made me realize geographically there's a deviant group everywhere that the people are real hard towards. And he was saying in back in Sham in Syria, the Shia, the Rafida, he was like, the Salafis, there's no problem. He said it's the Shia. He got serious, like his face turned and everything. These people are evil, and he went into his thing. So anyway, the Sheikh, he ends this section. He says, it is obligatory upon every Muslim, every responsible Muslim, to know that it is permissible with respect to them, ya Jews. Okay? Remember, these are the hukma aqaliyah when it comes to usuluddin. You have wajib, you have istihilun, right? Which is the opposite, diddu. It's the opposite of the wajib. And then you have jaiz, right? Those things that are permissible with respect to the prophets, right? He says that yajibu fi haqiqihim. Every non-essential quality, right? Non-essential human quality which does not lead to defect in their elevated rank, like fevers, right? The Prophet ﷺ had a fever, right? I think one of the sisters asked that question in the group. They discussed what the Prophet ﷺ died from was a fever. Headaches, eating and drinking, marrying, buying and selling. And the proof of all of this is all the eyewitnesses account on behalf of other people around him. And they're a regular practice. All of the prophets had wives except Isa ibn Maryam, right? Okay. So he's supposed to get married when he returns. Okay. So he's supposed to get married when he returns, right? So all of these things that happen, all the prophets and messengers had wives and got married. These are also an example for you to engage. How would you know about permissibility of marriage? You've seen the prophets marry. How do we learn how to deal with our wives? From the Prophet's behavior. That's why it's not, come over here, because I'm recording. Sit right over there. Sit right there. Well, one of the problems is that when we start taking behaviors that is not from the Prophet, we get ratchet results. Right? You get ratchet results. But when you take the behavior of the Prophet, then that's a whole nother story. Like, you got to even get to the point as men, when we discuss about the Prophet, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with certain things, even like gentleness on how you deal with women. You got to know how. You learn the emotional state of women by looking at the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how he dealt with his wives. There was times where Aisha would do things that we'd be like, man, I'll leave her over that. But the Prophet didn't do so. Right? There's things that we wouldn't leave a woman for. The Prophet you know what I'm saying? When you dealt with him like, I ain't gonna deal with all that. We have to analyze and utilize his life. You learn long silence. Sometimes it don't even require a result. A lot of people attribute it to intelligence. I attribute it to my intelligence to follow the message of Allah. There's sometimes your wife say the wrong thing. Two things you got to do: get silent and give it an Ike look. Give it that Ike Turner look. What? No, you get silent, but you use silence as a method, right? And so on and so forth. The behaviors of the Prophet it were little things. How he dealt with his wives. He would race with his wife. You know what I'm saying? watch Riyadh sports with his wife, right? Remember when Aisha was the Eid, they were watching the men spear fight and practice with swords and so on and so forth. He stood with her while she done so. So there's no problem. There's no problem with that. But we learn from this behavior, these things. We learn how to eat, right? We're talking about these things that to us, and here it's mentioned as jaiz, right? But look at it. It's permissible, and we look at it as something mundane. But how do we learn how to eat with our right hand? From the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How do we learn how to squat when we use the bathroom? Through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How do we learn how to make ghusl? Through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So of course these are eyewitness accounts. This is like a no-brainer. These things are Yajuz. So this is all that we have with regards to the the Nabuwa. Many of you guys owe me some homework for Umdat'l Bayaan. Y'all are horrible students. Y'all better not talk that tough talk till y'all get y'all homework in. Inshallah. Next week we'll continue. We'll continue with the Sami'at, and then we'll go into the fiqh, the Islam portion of the book of Umdat'l Bayaan, which it should get interesting. I'm gonna try to get in and out of this book as fast as possible, inshallah, because we got so much more other stuff we can cover, inshallah. Like I mentioned before, we should begin to memorize the text, because sometimes we'll be looking for an effective or efficient dawah program. I put that in quotes. This is it, the Fard Ayn. This is what the deen was. When you read the Hadith of Jibril, what did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say after he asked Omar to go look for him? And he said, "Did you know who that was?" He said, "Allah and His Messenger know best." Had the Jibril. That was Jibril. He came to do what? Teach you your deen. So that the entire Islam is based on Iman, Islam, and Ihsan. We need to follow that particular methodology. After the person gets the Shahada, they learn their Fard Ayn immediately. What's happened in our time is people will take Shahada and don't learn Fard Ayn. And then by the time they get around the Fard Ayn, they so confused because it's like a storm out here. You're getting hit by everything else, and they confused about Islam. They start learning stuff on their own. Then you'll have people questioning your authenticity. Well, I read from, Kaiser Sose book that he translated on Mustalah Hadith. You like, Kaiser Sose? Yeah, Kaiser Sose. So what? He ain't Muslim, but he put in work for Islam. And then you start doubting Islam based on what you're reading from the Kuffar, what you read from some Jew. You just learning different things, and you all over the place. No, we need to leave them something, leave them this. They leave them their deen, in their deen in its totality. So with that, inshallah, we'll stop there, and then I'll reset the YouTube up. Reset the YouTube up for my fatwa for Black America, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Perfect time, because we could do it right after Salat.